Hello everyone, how's it going? Hope you're all alright. In this video, we're discussing what corporate culture is. And remember that whenever a company has a clear change in strategy, which is something that you will be looking to do in your questions on strategic analysis, choice, and implementation. So, whenever there's a new strategy decided, a company will have to bring about a change in its corporate culture as well. So, what is corporate culture? Corporate culture are the expectations from the company that all workers within the organization must behave in a certain way, must represent the company in a certain way to its internal and its external stakeholders. And of course, the idea is to maintain a good image, be ethical, be considerate towards all the stakeholders because you're working in tandem with them. They help you, you help them, and that's how you have a working business. So, corporate culture is simply the values, the attitudes, and the beliefs of people in an organization must have in dealing with, for example, the suppliers, in dealing with the customers, dealing with the employees internally, with anyone. They must represent a certain way, a certain aura, a certain swag, if you might like, a way that company likes to be seen from everyone. So it's how you deal with everyone outside in the world and how they view you in return. That's what corporate culture is. It's a representation of the beliefs, of the norms that all the company collectively has. And of course, the idea is that whenever a new employee joins an organization, they're expected to adopt this corporate culture. For example, if the culture is of innovation, then that's something they'll be expected to do. If the culture is of taking risks, then of course that's something that everybody, whatever their role is in the organization, they're expected to follow their corporate culture. So it sets a way of thinking and a philosophy for the entire company's workforce to follow. And there are five types of corporate cultures that might exist in any company, and we're going to look at them all one by one. The first one being power culture. This is where you want just a few people having the power to make all the decisions in the company. Now, of course, this is something that will be more suited to a business that's not so large, a small business where one or two people might want to control all aspects of the business. And this is, of course, more suited to the autocratic style of leadership, as we know. And that's where, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the skill set in your organization, then you will be looking to give power to the few people at the top. And that's where your company will be adopting a power culture. The second type is called role culture. And this is very closely linked to the concept of organizational structure. As you remember, in an organizational structure of a hierarchical nature, at every level, everyone has a defined role. So there's a CEO, there are department heads, there are managers, there are supervisors. So everyone has a title, and that title will tell you exactly what that person is doing and what their role in the whole organization is. And of course, everyone within their role will have to follow a certain common corporate culture so that they represent the company collectively in the right manner. So, of course, this is something that is showing more value in the role, more value in the employees. So, it's going to be more motivating. Of course, communication will be a big question mark. We know that there's vertical communication, horizontal communication. So, that must be established. Good lines of communication for role culture to flourish. Then there's something called task culture. This is where the idea is to encourage teamwork, encourage problem solving together, put people in teams through self production. So, based on cooperation and teamwork, you want to make sure that whatever the job at hand is, and remember that job could be a specific project that comes along. So, if there's a specific project, then you need to make sure that you have all the right individuals in that team and they're contributing towards achieving that particular task. So this is where you can also link this with the matrix structure, that if you go towards task culture where people might be working on different projects at different times, a matrix structure may be more suited to this. So depending on the task, you will have different ways of dealing with different projects. That's task culture. At number 4, we have person culture. And this is very closely linked to the leadership style of laissez-faire. You remember that's a very hands-off approach, and each individual worker, each individual manager is given the choice to make the decisions in their position depending on their role. So this is good for self-reliant people, and that's what person culture promotes. That when you have individuals who have certain skills, who have knowledge, make sure they are utilizing them. Of course, for a business, that's good utilization of labor, and for those people, it is motivating that they are also lending a hand in the decision making of the company. So when you give them the freedom to decide, to express fully, that is what you call person culture, making that person and his skills the center point of any decision. Now, of course, the thing here is that different people have different values, different ways of managing their teams, different ways of rewarding. So if you give each individual worker a different way of running their own ship, then of course there's going to be some inconsistencies. There might be benefits given to some departments where others they might not be getting them. So that's where there might be a little bit of room for conflict, because of course we know different people view things differently. So that's person culture. And the last in this type of corporate cultures is entrepreneurial culture. And we know very well what being an entrepreneur means. It means that the culture is to promote being a risk taker, being innovative, being creative, trying new things, thinking out of the box. Whenever you're doing all of those things, whenever the company is expecting you and encouraging you to do all of that, that means the organization has adopted entrepreneurial culture. This is where you want your entrepreneurs to come to the fore and make sure that the company as a whole is a risk taking, and hopefully with a higher risk you also become a highly rewarding business as well. So having looked at the 5 types of corporate culture, we now need to determine when is it exactly that companies feel that they have to bring about a change in their corporate culture. I'm going to discuss 3 different situations where a need is there for the company to change the corporate culture from one type to another. The first of those is where you have a company that is a product led business and they are experiencing changes in the market conditions. So maybe the tastes are changing, maybe the income levels are changing. So things are changing rapidly. And you want your workers to be more involved, you want them to be better coordinated, you want them to tackle the problems together. And if that's the situation, of course, a team or task culture may be adopted, because that's what encourages working in teams, problem solving together. So more staff involvement would be, of course, through better teams, more self production, and that's where a certain change in corporate culture will bring about a better result for the company. Secondly, let's say a company that has been recently privatized, which was previously a nationalized business. So, privatized business, formerly run on bureaucratic principles, needs to become more profit oriented and customer focused. And we know that through the processes of privatization and nationalization. So, when you go towards privatization, the objective is to start making profits, start thinking about increasing your revenues, reducing your costs. And of course, the way to do that is by being an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneurial culture may be needed so that you're able to come up with new techniques, leave the bureaucratic system behind, and go forward towards efficiency, towards productivity. And of course, that comes through being an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneurial culture might be better suited here. Thirdly, perhaps a company is facing declining profits, they're facing bad time through a decrease in its market share, and the result is that you have a poorly motivated workforce and they're not really interested in serving the customers. So, what do? You gotta put the person in the front. You gotta make sure that if anyone has the right skill to tackle these problems, they need to be given the right charge to make the decisions. To if the customers are there, if a certain discount needs to be given, a certain exchange needs to be done, give that person the choice to make the decision, so that there is more continuity, there is better service being given to the customers. So the idea of this is to simply understand that whenever there is a major change in the strategy, there will be a need to change the culture, and depending on the type of strategy you have, you may have to recommend one of these 5 types of corporate culture.